You found us. This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Welcome.
Welcome back to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. I'm Linda Bruno, and now get ready for part 2 of 4 perspectives from the VO trenches. And we left last time discussing if we had made any type of monetary goals for ourselves each day, month, year, and we're hopping back in with Alden's response.
I compare this month to the same month last year. Try to make it more,
Okay.
Try to grow that. I want to see, I want to have more invoices this year than I had last year. I want more direct clients that I'm billing directly. I also want to, I still haven't booked my first agency job. I'm auditioning for them, but just haven't booked it yet. Those are pretty tough to get. I want to win more auditions, so those things lead to raising my income, but they're a little bit smaller goals, a little more measurable for me.
Sure.
I like
that makes sense.
that you go down to the hour, because I do mine down to the day. And I have it written on my dry erase board, and it's crazy because when you're making your goal, it's like, when do you up your goal? And then I remember my wife came in and she was like, "Hey, you've had that goal up there for the week and for the month, and let's break it down, to raise your goal." And she doubled it. She doubled the goal. And I was like, there's no way I can make that. There's no way. And then I'm making that. And then I've probably, from my first goal, which was very low, to my goal that's up there now, when I started, if I ever even wrote the number that's on that whiteboard outside right now, I'd be like, "You're fucking nuts. There's no way. There's no other way to act the surprise," but that's what you would say. You'd be like, "You're nuts. There's no possible way in the universe that could be some goal you're shooting for every month." And I'm telling you, man, invest when you're paying for coaching, when you're paying for workshops. That money, it might be a little difficult to scrape up, but it can be done. And once you look at it as an investment into my business, into me getting better, into me doing better for my family, for my business, it's a whole different thing. You want to spend that for those kinds of things. You know what I mean? Because you're looking at it as an investment. This is the thing that's helping me to become the thing that I want to be, and to be the person for my family that I want to be, and all that stuff. So sorry to make a short story long. But yeah, I'm down to every day. And that's what I do.
That's good.
Every day. Good for you. All right. So now let's talk about mistakes. Ooh. What mistakes have you made?
I mean, I probably didn't. I mean, so here's the thing. I came from an acting background. I did theater for a long time. I had a film and television agent back when I was 20, and I had them for 10 years. So when I got into voiceover, I kind of had a general idea of how this works, and
That's a great foundation.
I mean, and that's the thing is I didn't do any coaching my first year at all, and I booked 40 jobs. And I was doing it as a side gig. I probably made just over 11K just doing voiceovers. I did have a full-time job at the time. So I was like, okay, cool, I can do this. But then, things got weird after, towards the end of 2021, and I hadn't done really any coaching at all. So I decided 2022, I'll look into some coaching. In 2023, I did some coaching as well. Still not sure if it's me that's not getting some stuff, or if it's, because here's the thing. I am booking more consistently again. I kind of attribute my huge downtime just to kind of what was going on just with the economy, with people kind of iffy about AI, and then oversaturation on certain platforms, and not doing direct marketing for a little bit of time. That's what I attribute most of my downtime to. But summer hit, and then I started booking more consistently again. But I feel like I just haven't made the right connection coaching yet. And my mistake is just either I'm not taking what I'm learning and applying it, or I just haven't heard the right words in the right way that makes me go, aha.
Connects with you.
That connects with me,
point.
right.
Sure.
And I'm not blaming my coaches. I definitely have learned things from the people I have coached with. But it's not, for me, it doesn't seem like it's enough to elevate my experience. I always
use the example of I used to play golf. And so I was like obsessed with it, and I would take lessons every week. And it was a great coach. I loved him. I was with him for like 7 years. And then I happened to be at a club, and there was another guy there coaching, and I'm like, oh, let me take a lesson. And so the guy shows me how to do a pitch shot a different way than my original coach had. And it was fantastic. I was like, oh, this fits, this works. It was just a different perspective that resonated for me.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And so, I mean, to kind of touch on the mistake, I think mistake is probably not getting coaching as soon as sooner than I did. But
Gotcha.
at the same time, I mean, like, because I had the background of acting, I knew something, you know what I mean? Like I knew some
Right.
things, and I still know some things. But yeah, I always stress coaching to people who ask me about voiceover. I was like, look, you need to get coaching. Like, I mean, like, and I'll tell them my story. Like, look, I didn't, and I was successful. You very well could be successful, but I would highly suggest getting coaching because they're going to be able to tell you about the trends. You know, they're gonna you need to
Yeah.
make sure that they're
Right.
working because they're going to be able to tell you what it takes to work in this business now. You know what I mean? So coaching is obvious is my mistake or lack of
Yeah.
coaching.
Gotcha.
I started too quickly
else?
full time. I wanted
I
to
think we
wait
all
another
did
year.
that. I
Yeah,
did.
I wanted to
Yeah, I
go
did too.
another year, but man, I was in global supply chain and automotive, and of course everybody knows there were no cars to sell, and they couldn't get parts and this that. No, well, I was the guy trying to get the freaking parts in the country. And, you know, for my company, and we built parts that went into every engine for Toyota, General Motors, Nissan, all of them. So every day, the stress of get that container from Japan, get this from here. This plant is down. They don't have workforce. Can you send us 6 people to help pack parts? And, you know, it was every day. And I just came home like in October and I said, I can't do this anymore. My wife said, okay, just quit. What do you mean? She said, just quit. I thought, I can't just quit. Well, sure, you can just quit and just do voiceover. You're starting to do it. You're making some money. Just quit and do it. But had I had another year, I think I really could have been more prepared. I'd have been better off because kind of like Jake, I wasn't direct marketing. I was relying on a lot of platforms and auditioning and all that stuff. And then I finally, the second year full time, I got into all that. But that first year, I survived somehow on all those platforms, made enough money to get by. But the second year, by getting more direct customers, more repeat business, more this, and I went from like 18% direct the first year to almost 50% the second year, and I was closer to 65% direct this year. So it's,
Interesting.
yeah, that really made a big difference. But another year would have helped me a lot.
Well, I just want to add to that real quick because you said like, you know, that was a mistake. And sure, maybe it was a mistake in the fact that like, yeah, you probably needed that extra year just to be comfortable. But you did make it through. But because I'm in the same boat as you are. Like I didn't do global supply chain, but I was working at a job that was just like mentally draining me every day. And my girlfriend, at one night I got off work and I was working at home too. So it's not like I was leaving the house. I was able to work from home, but it just got so ridiculous. And the people that owned the company I worked for were making poor choices for us, in my opinion. And my girlfriend looked at me one day. She's like, just quit and do this. Like follow, like you want to do this voiceover thing. So just quit and do that. And so, sure, did I get in too early? Absolutely I did. But I think I would rather do what I've done than stick with that job that I did not enjoy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to be mentally drained every day. And that's what it was doing to me.
Yeah.
It's a misery.
Yeah.
I think for me, I didn't have the luxury because I was working for a big airline, a major airline in America, and they were like, nobody come into work on Saturday because of this COVID thing. And then now we're just kind of sitting there getting on Zoom calls every day for 30 minutes, making sure we're alive because we don't know what's happening out in the world. And I had just built my first house and moved in November of the year before that. So I've been in the house for 3 months. And they come back and they're like, we're pretty much going to let everybody go on the team, like 79 people on our team. And
my God.
and I had moved from Expedia, living in China, opening the Korean line of business from China, like I was manager globally. It was crazy. And I came here for this job. And everything was going hunky-dory and it was awesome. And I'm going to be this airline guy forever. And then all of a sudden it's just like rug pulled out from underneath you.
Yeah.
And you are just flying head over heels upside down and your world is upside down. And you're like, what am I going to do? And so I think because that happened, it was just, I was forced to do what I needed to do. But now I'm getting off topic, but what was the biggest surprise for me? I would say is probably the fact that you'd send out auditions and you would never get a reply. That was the biggest kind of shock to me. And I really let that get to me. I really let it get to me.
It's hard not to.
I'm just like, just tell me that, hey, you know what? Like, give me the letter when I'm applying for a job that says, hey, you know what? Unfortunately, we're not going to move forward with you. And I'm just waiting for that.
It doesn't happen. Yeah.
And I was just, and it was eating me alive.
Yeah.
And until somebody told me, they're like, dude, you just got to set it and forget it. Like that old infomercial, and just go to the next one.
Yeah.
Because it's going to drive you crazy. And once I did that, it was like a weight off my shoulders.
So would you say your mistake that you made there was thinking you'd get a reply?
Yeah. That everybody was going to reply to me. Okay. And I'm like, man, and then I'd be like, man, I did like 3 auditions today. Like I'm doing all these auditions.
All 3?
Yeah, all 3 of them. I did 3
it probably took all day, didn't it?
Yeah, I know, right? And it's like, nobody's getting back to me. And then
how dare they?
I know.
Right,
and then because you're starting out, I felt like demoralized. The air was just getting let out of my balloon. I'm like, okay, this isn't for me. See, they're not replying back. I don't know what's happening. And it's like, dude, they can't reply back to everybody. Even if you're shortlisted, sometimes they're not going to reply back to you. You know, so that was my big mistake. But setting it and forgetting it, night and day difference.
When I used to audition in person in the city, it would be the same thing every time. You know, casting director, thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in.
That's even worse, though, because they're right there.
Did you ever get
Right,
that was a great read? Like you get positive feedback. Yeah. When I would go on auditions for like film, I had a couple. There was a couple of ladies that owned a casting company down here in Dallas or whatever, and I would see them all the time. And after every one, great read, Jake. That was great. That was so great. And I'm feeling good about it. They never hear anything, and you're just like,
I know.
telling me that.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, just say thank you. It's not like I want you to say that. You know what I mean? Like, I can take it. Like, I don't. But yeah. So.
Well, maybe they really do like it, but it wasn't up to them.
Of course. And I don't blame them, but it's like, as an actor, it's like you don't want to hear a great read and then hear nothing. I'd rather just hear thank you so much, and we'll let you know, or whatever. Just thank you so much. Yeah, you have a great day. Whatever, you know. And because I can, in my head, I know that I'm not going to hear anything unless I get it. I just don't want to hear a great read because then it's like, was it?
Ooh, there's hope.
Yeah,
you're waiting on
I would get
that thing like we have in the corporate world, that annual review, you know, or we only gave you a 4 this year because you really didn't hit the mark and blah, 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 and your budgets were off a little and whatever. Yeah, you ain't getting that here, pal. It ain't coming. Nah.
No.
We want it as actors, though. We want to know if it was bad. We want to know so we can change and improve and take a different approach.
And even if you don't get it, doesn't mean it was bad.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. It doesn't mean
yeah. But if you're not booking jobs, that seems to be the the
Falling
whole
short.
indicator of I must be doing something
I
wrong.
I learned a hard lesson this week. I'd reached out to an agent that I just had gotten nothing from last year, like 4 auditions. And I said, hey, maybe we need to part ways and blah, blah, blah. And they said, did you not see these last 12 auditions? And this was like November and December. And I said, no, I didn't get an email on any of those. And so she's like, well, we need to check something. So they go in the system and look, and they have my email address. They had left off a letter on my email address. So they got got it corrected yesterday, and they sent me some stuff. And they said, we're so sorry. You've missed out on all this stuff and whatever. And I may have never booked any of them, but they're in Louisville, Kentucky. So I thought, they're the best chance I got. They're in the area. They're booked, probably getting a lot of stuff in the area. But we got it fixed, and they're going to take care of it. But I was to the point of, I just think I probably should ask them to take me off their roster, because I'm just in their way.
I've never asked a regional casting director to take me off. I just figured that they're going to do it, an agent. I figure if they don't want me anymore, they're not going to send me stuff. But that's always my thing of, the only I have had relationship shifts in the New York market with those large agents. Things aren't working out or whatever. But the regional ones, I just let it sit.
Yeah.
And I figured they're good. If they stop sending me stuff, then they must not have confidence in me anymore. But they keep sending stuff, so, okay, I'll just keep auditioning for it. You know?
But not getting anything kind of made me go.
It's good you did reach
weird.
out. Yeah.
And So I'm glad I did that, because that's one of those things that we kind of get down about. You're wondering, because I know even I had sent Charles to them, and they put him on, and he was getting auditions. I'm like, well, I'm not getting them.
Yeah.
I sent you
Where are
there.
your
Where's
auditions?
mine? I'd like to compete with you, but
Yeah.
But we're good now.
I'm going to tell you about a bad little story. I had an agent that I wasn't getting anything from, and it was like maybe 6 months. I was like, I have not gotten one audition from you. And then the guy emails the assistant, and the assistant is an idiot and just forwards me his email. So I see the trail of their conversation. And he's like, I've just made up this audition. Just send it to her so that it's something.
What?
And they faked an audition. They weren't getting any auditions.
Oh,
wow.
dang.
That's the thing. They were not getting any. And I'm
gosh.
seeing this. I saw it. I was like, oh my
Isn't
gosh.
that
Feels
something?
Never looked at them the same way again.
Oh, no
that's a
kidding.
bummer.
You never know.
I would say, as
you
far
don't.
as mistakes that I've made, errors, flub ups, I've waited too long in between coaches. I got my first coach within the first 6 months of jumping into voiceover. And then COVID hit and the world changed, right? But I waited too long to get the next coach. I waited too long to follow up on that. And so 2023, I did a lot better with that. I think having that extra coaching kind of propelled me to grow as an actor more, and in that way win some more auditions that I might not have won before. And so I waited too long. And part of that was jumping too quickly, like Troy's story is. I jumped too quickly into full time and depended on this little income I was getting to stretch out farther, and it didn't quite stretch far enough to get the coaching that I needed to get to grow it even more. So that's something I changed in 2023 and will continue working on in 2024.
Interesting. This is all great for folks that are just starting out to hear all
Can
of
I
them.
add one more
Tats and
mistake?
gems.
Yeah.
No,
Sure.
Charles.
All the mistakes you want, Charles.
As long as it's don't tape your microphone on your coffee cup.
Yeah.
Don't give us that.
To start your voiceover career.
Yeah.
So I had a coach that told me, why are you stepping over hundreds to pick up fives? And it was kind of like a moment to where I am spending all this time and I'm accepting these lower paying jobs. And I look at the rights usage and I'm like, it's fine. I just want that, Or
Right.
somebody will say, hey, what can you, what's your budget on this? Or they'll ask me, hey, can you send me a quote for this? But there'll be no details in there. And I would just be like, oh yeah, it'd be this much. And, I was so just wanting that validation of making money and, hey, I'm making something, right? That
Right.
I would just take whatever. And I would and literally I was wasting my time that could be used for other things, for these little tiny paying
But
jobs.
I think that's a natural thing,
Yeah.
though, when you're starting out, because you
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't
You
know.
don't know.
You want to do it, and some people telling you, you're good, but if you're not booking jobs, it's like you have to get those
Yep.
little wins again.
Sure,
Even if the money is
yeah.
crap, it's a good way to start building.
True,
Well, no,
true that, but there
for
should be
me,
a point, like a
that's
threshold.
that's the thing. My mistake was not doing it. Like now I'm booking stuff. I'm making good money, but I still do take that little stuff and I do those little things and I
Oh,
you know what I
gotcha.
mean? Like I had already passed that point where I should have been doing that, but it's like I don't want to be that guy that's like, well, I want this much for it, and that's how I would think of myself, picture it. But actually, you need to picture it as, yeah, my name's Charles Coates. I'm a voice actor. These are my rates. What is it going to be used for? How long? And how's it going to be used? Okay, great. Well, this is my quote per spot. I'd love to work with you and send it off. But I didn't have that. I didn't want to be. I had that other guy in my head that was like, oh, I'm going to be this guy
Sure.
trying to like get more money out of him, And that was my big mistake. And I waited way too long to now be comfortable with putting my price out there and giving it. And surprisingly, 90% of them are like, oh, let me check real quick. Okay, sure. That'll work. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
what the heck? Why wasn't I doing this before?
Why didn't I do this
Right.
from the
Yeah.
beginning?
Exactly.
Oh, yes,
or at
yes,
least,
yes.
after you got some confidence in yourself. But yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
It's the confidence thing. All right, here we go. Have you made an ass of yourself yet with a client, agent, or coach? It's coming. I just want to know if you've done it yet.
Oh, gosh.
I mean,
Probably.
Have you done anything stupid? And you're like,
there was this isn't like a big deal, and like there was one time I was on a Source Connect session, like I had just jumped on, and I could hear them. No, I couldn't hear them. I couldn't hear them, but they could hear me, and so they were like using the chat to like talk to me. They're like, "We can hear you just fine," and I'm like, "What is going on?" And I'm freaking out. I was like, "I just tested this." I have 2 sets of headphones, one for outside the booth and one inside here, and I hadn't adjusted I'm like, just all I had to do was open my settings and click,
Nice.
switch this over to the default. And I mean, like I was like, I'm sorry about that. They ended up being really cool, and they complimented my sound, so that was fine. But at the same time, it was like, it was early on too. I think it was like in my second year of voiceover, and I was just like,
You saying you had the wrong headphones on?
well, no, I had the right
setting
headphones
wrong.
on. I just
Okay.
had the setting wrong
Okay.
because like
I got you.
Yeah.
I don't
Switched over.
I don't edit in my booth. I pop out. I mean, I can edit in my booth. I just prefer not to. And so I still had my default headphones being the ones that are outside my
gotcha.
booth. And so I switched into this. I'm like, they can hear me just fine. I'm reading their chat. I'm like, and I would sit and I'm saying like, you can hear what I'm saying, but okay, so I don't know what's going on, and like I'm like freaking out. I was like, I just tested this, like, but
And they're on the other line
It
like,
happens.
it's okay, man. Like, we can hear it. Like, this guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. I did have and I was telling Charles about this weekend. I had a session early on where I booked the job and they liked my audition, and I get in and we start reading the script and I'm doing it like my audition. And the guy just kept saying, we want it more like you're just talking to a friend. And I'm like, okay. So I try something a little different that in my mind, it sounds like I'm talking to a friend. It's not quite it. And I'm just at one point it just got just like, I'm sorry, I just don't know if I'm hitting all the right notes. So they ended up finished the recording. I got paid for it, but I went to their website because I knew how it was going to be used, like, I don't know, like a month later, and they got somebody completely different to do the spot, which is fine with me. I still got paid
Go
for it, but at
figure.
the same time I was just like, I don't know what you want. You hired me because I auditioned and you liked my audition. I gave you my audition, then I tried to make changes based on what you were saying and you didn't like it. So I don't know if that was me making an ass out of myself or if him or if they them
Sometimes they don't
Got
know.
paid,
They just
so-
Just a
don't.
mismatch.
Yeah, no, it must
know.
just. I mean, like I feel bad because again they had to pay me for it, but at the same time, it's like I did the work.
Yeah,
like
don't
you
feel
hired
bad.
me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, those are the only 2 things
Exactly.
I can think of. Other than that, everything's been real smooth from both
Yeah.
ends. I haven't worked with anybody I didn't like, and I feel like everybody I've worked with has taken to me just fine too.
It's
That's
coming,
great. So
though.
far, so
It's
good.
coming.
Anyone
I
else?
did a.
It's
yeah,
coming.
It's coming. I did a directed session, and it was like they confirmed a week ahead of time, right? Everything's great, this and that and the other thing. It's going to be at like 1 p.m., this and that and the other thing. Okay, great. At like 11:50, I take my dog out, go to the neighbors. We get our coffee. He works for Microsoft, and he works from home. So we take our dogs to the pool field behind our houses where the swimming pool is. And so we're just out there and this and that and the other thing. And I always take my phone with me, but I didn't take my phone with me that time.
Oh, no,
and we're talking about Star Wars and UFOs, or I don't know what we're talking about, right? And I get back and it's like, now it's 12:40, right? I get back in and there's like 5 missed calls on my phone, like new emails. And it was 1 p.m. Eastern,
Yeah.
and I'm
time
Central.
change. Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the client was on the line.
God.
Everybody was there. Like, Source Connect hooked up, audio engineer. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was like,
Oh.
I am so sorry. This and that. We had a time thing difference, right? That is not the worst part. They
God.
rescheduled it.
Oh no,
Oh,
you were
shit.
late again.
They rescheduled it. Okay. I realize once again that I am not, like, it's going to happen in like 1 minute. Like, I'm like, you know what? Oh my God, it's like now. So I jump into the booth. I'm trying to pull up the stuff, and it's like, come on, Charles. Like, hi, my name's Charles Coates. I'm a professional flub up, you know? And so I get in, and I had been doing a Zoom call that morning, and I had my sound, just like Jacob had. I had my sound and my camera on the outside computer. So when I jump in, I click on the call. What does it show? It shows like a tissue box and a bowl of cereal, and it's pointing at my empty chair. And I have to go out of my booth to switch the stick, right? So to throw the screen in here. So I run outside, I throw the screen in here, I jump on, and then I got to step out of the booth again once I click on video. Everybody's like, hi. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? They're like, yeah, we can't really hear you that good because the freaking microphone was on the freaking iMac outside. So then I'm like, oh, hold on 1 second. And then I have to run out of the booth, switch it again. I was just like, dude, you're a loser. Like, what are you doing, Charles?
Oh, wow.
This is my first.
How was the rest of
time.
the
The session
session?
was great. Like we're laughing and like I haven't
God.
had a bad session yet. But I was expecting them to just be like, do we have to stick with this guy? Like he's late again. Like he doesn't have his shit together. But I was just like, come on, man.
Wow, man.
Oh, that's funny.
I got
Wow. Okay,
I got
that's a good
told
example.
a couple of weeks ago that I was not hitting the T in the word whitefish, and it kind of made me
There's a
feel
T in
bad
that
because
word?
then I got and it made me feel bad because then you start thinking about it and you're either over pronunciating the T or whatever. And the only other one that I've had that was weird, I had a video game session. It was an hour. It was on a Friday night, and they were supposed to have a Chinese guy in there. They were taking the Chinese game and making it American. It was under NDA. And I had one, I don't know, 3 different parts, I think. And the voices were like, we want you to get in the same timing as the Chinese guy. So we're going to play his part, and then you say it, And I said, but you want me to use the voice I used in the audition? Yes. So, but the guy's not here yet from the gaming company, so we don't know if he's going to get on or not. But we're going to go ahead and get this done. So we go through it, and he would, the guy would come on there. So I would say my thing, in the voice, and they're like, make it sound more like his voice. And what are you going to do? Because
I'm
the
from
audition
Tennessee,
was,
lady. I'm from Tennessee. Okay.
but the thing was like, please come in here. I want to help you. Something like that. So they're wanting me to go, please, I'll come in here. I want to help you. Like that. And I'm like, but now it's Chinglish. It's not even my voice. So the funny part was, well, we're sorry, but that guy's not here, and we want to be sure we're satisfying him. They recorded all that, sent it off. They called me the next day and say, are you available Saturday? It'll be another fully paid session. And I'm like, sure, why? He's very upset that we didn't let you use your own voice.
Wow.
And that made me feel so much better. But at first I thought, well, I didn't want to be an ass and not
Yeah.
do what they
Yeah.
said. But
At that point, what can you
Sure.
do? You're
you got to
under
do
their
what they tell
direction.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I did 3 very Chinglish characters for them, and then I got to come back, and we knocked it out in like 25 minutes the second time. The first time we're on like an hour and a half because they can't time stuff up, and they're screwing. They're making it more like this.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Challenging.
It happens.
Challenging. Alden?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Nothing is sticking out in my mind. I know that I have sent, like when I've had a lot of auditions going on and somebody direct mailed me.
sent
I sent the wrong audition to a client. I know I've done that before.
Yeah.
And when I realize it, I'm like, oh my gosh, and get back on. I said, I disregard that first one. I sent you the wrong thing, and I know I've done that, and I have had most of my live sessions go pretty well. I haven't had anything like that. I did have that East Coast Central time zone thing with my first coaching session with Brad Highland. Yeah.
I had a
That's
coach that I got the hours mixed up. They were on the West Coast, and I missed it, and they charged me and would not reschedule.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was pretty bad. And I was trying to reach
That's,
out, and
interesting.
I was 10 minutes late, and I caught it, and I went, oh my gosh. And they said, I only give you 15 minutes. They sent an email, I only give you 15 minutes to get on. If you don't get on this 15 minutes. Well, I was on the call in 10 minutes trying to message them, on Skype, hey, I'm here. And they charged me.
I remember I did an actual job for a client, and it was an IVR, but they wanted it they were using Cisco systems, so they had to have it in, not Wave, but it was like 8-bit or whatever it is.
Oh, those weird little, U-Law.
And so I did that, sent everything off, and then, I just jumped back into doing some auditions, checked emails, did some auditions, this and that, and I realized, and normally I listen back to everything that I send. right, before I send the audition. But I was just kind of in like, okay, I need to get these auditions out. Going to go through, send them off, done, right, good to go. Mm-hmm. They were all, I sent like 8 auditions, separate auditions that had that 8-bit quality to it.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No, you didn't ever change your settings back. Okay.
I didn't change my. Yeah, it's like thank you for calling. It's that crappy like $1.99
Yeah,
phone kind of
telephone
setting sound, and so it was
I
like
did
needless
that.
to say, I did not get shortlisted for any of those.
I did that very thing. Yeah, I did one of those. In fact, it was an audition that is it Birmingham?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's in our group.
Birmingham,
She-
Alabama.
Yeah, she had liked my voice, and she said, I think you'd be a great fit for this. And it wasn't one of hers, but it was something she had seen. I don't know
Right.
if it was where it was. I can't remember what platform.
She's really cool about that.
She is. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that, I think that is a good fit for me. I did it. And same thing, Charles. It was in like that 8-bit because I had just done
Yeah,
one of those.
didn't change the settings back.
Then you.
Well, this has been great, guys.
A lot of fun.
We chatted for over an hour,
wow,
and I
wow.
love it
Sure enough.
because I know. So it just means I'm just going to have you guys on again.
Hey, we're about it.
So,
We love to talk. You should hear it. I mean, shoot. Charles and I were in the car together the other day for like 2.5 hours total.
Hey man, we would have talked the dog off a meat line. I mean, like the dog would have been like, I'm out of here. This is too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I didn't even cover all the questions I had,
shit.
so this is good. I'll save it for the next
Okay.
time. But thank you all for joining me today. That wraps up another episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Visit voiceover.guru. Obviously, we offer coaching.
Yes, they do.
And we have our workouts that you can join in on. A good way to get some feedback
Yes,
affordably.
I
Yes.
want to second
The
that. I've been
limited-
doing that lately. It's awesome.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, the limited amount of people as well in our online workouts, and we only max that out at 6. Troy's
Yep.
done a
I've
Yes.
done them.
Yes.
I've done them with you guys too. They're great.
Yep. Fantastic.
yeah. So it's only the 3 coaches, so we keep it nice and intimate and fun and one-on-one.
Nice.
So, but anyway, thanks again for joining me, and everybody have a great rest of your
Yeah.
day.
you.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks, Linda.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru.